Hey, I'm live, it tells me. How is everybody doing in 2026? Yeah, another year is kicked off. So, yeah, welcome along. Tavo, good to have you here, mate. You're feeling a bit better, I take it. So that's good. Good news. Beagle Bob, hey, mate, how you doing? David Tyree, welcome along. Charles Dalton. The regular crew are here, so which is cool. Chris Freemesser, good evening. Yeah. So, what's new? Hopefully you all had a good new year. Got somewhat drunk and partied a little. Hopefully, I know I do. Paul Funk, good evening, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. This is very true. Do please hit the like button. That makes a big difference. It helps, and not just lives, all the videos. Hit the like buttons, hit the hype buttons, all that fun stuff. So cheers. Here's to 2026. Fred Gomez, welcome along, Fred. So, what's new, guys? What shall we chat about tonight? What's going to be our topic and our off-topic topic? Off-automotive topic. So, yeah, it's actually looking a bit quiet tonight. Tavo, yeah, still kicking. That's good, mate. Nothing too serious, I hope. So, yeah. So nobody's got any kind of entertaining stories from New Year's? Any embarrassing moments, that kind of thing? So, okay, it's a little quiet, but hey, I'll tell you what's happening at the shop. Right now, we've got a 65 Impala convertible in, which is just an old survivor car, nothing startling. Nothing startling, but not a bad car either. But yeah, he came in on a flatbed. He backed it out of his garage, and it would not come back out of reverse. So on a quick inspection, once it rolled off the flatbed, the linkage had fallen off the side of the transmission on its way out backwards out the driveway. Literally fell off. Didn't get hit or broken or anything. It just fell off. So of course he couldn't select any different gear than the one he was in, which was reverse. So it was a long way to the shop in reverse. So yeah, he got towed. So that was an easy fix. We're doing a bit of other maintenance stuff on it, a bit of brake work and tires and stuff like that. Another guy driving around on 15-year-old tires with 60% tread on it. So these old cars are not getting driven enough, guys. I'm telling you, like the number of half-worn to near new TAs radials that I see that are well over 10 years old is quite amazing. Something I very, very rarely see is a worn-out set of TAs. But there you go. I've got a worn-out, not TAs, but I've got a worn-out set of Nittos on the back of my my Mustang. But yeah. But actually, I think they're over 10 years old now too. But that's just from sitting. So I guess I'm no better than anyone else because I haven't done many miles on my car either. But I have at least worn out the rear tires. Tavo, 3 days straight of 40 degrees Celsius this week. Wow. What's that in Fahrenheit? 40 degrees. That's like 100-ish, I think. Let me just check with Mr. Google. Yeah, I know. I know 40 is hot, really hot, but I'm not sure whether all the American, the people on this side of the ocean are going to, that 40C is not going to mean a lot to them. 104. Yeah, I think it was about 100 odd. So 104, yeah, which is pretty hot. Dan's Garage, welcome along, mate. Paul Funk, we can always talk about booze. Well, there is that, yes. Fred Gomez, I went to bed at 11 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Well, you're just a party animal, aren't you? I must say, hey, I mean, I was only slightly better because I think I was in bed by about 10 past 12. So yeah, the more the years go by, the less kind of partying on New Year's Eve seems to be a little less important. Oh yeah, it is what it is. Josh Homan, good to have you here, mate. Tavo, it's a long way to the shop if you want sausage roll. Yeah, yes. Chris Freeman, so if it would stop effing snowing here 6 months out of the year, I'd drive my classic more. Well, fair enough. Well, you could just kind of pack up shop and head on down to Florida or something, become a snowbird. Beagle Bob, 2026, the year of the KSV as a daily. Ooh. There's no question it's fun to drive, but commuting to work every day would be. It's a lot. It's a lot of car to drive. Like it's angry. It's harsh. I mean, it's fun when you're after it, but trying to negotiate stop-go traffic lights and stuff. It's not its happy place. But I should drive it more. You got me there. I give you that. I should definitely drive it more. Bear Montero, Happy New Year. Have you done any more with the Alpine? Last I saw you were laying out a Mustang front frame rail. Yeah, I have been working on it a little bit. We've got... I've been reinforcing the rockers, that's a video that we're going to probably... we've done one side, we're going to film doing the other side. So that's a video that's quite possible, maybe not my next video, but it will be coming up soon. And that's, as I say, we've managed to slide in a double stacked 3x1 box section, because the rockers on the Alpine's quite deep, like it's 6 inches deep internally and only just over an inch wide. So it was like the perfect fit for certainly like a double stack of 3x1 box section. So driver's side, I've got that all slid in, welded in, and like a whole bunch of plug welds connecting it, to the rocker shell, the outer skin of the rocker. So it's all tied in, which now means I've got something really beefy to tie the Mustang torque boxes into. And so that's kind of going to be the content of the next video, but that'll be out certainly within the next week, before next Tuesday, put it that way. Okay, so that's Bear Montero's question answered. Beagle Bob, sounds like 105. Yeah, it's pretty close. Chris Freeman, so that would be roughly unbearable degrees Fahrenheit. 40, 42, and 45. Wow, that's getting hot. Wow, 45 that's 40's bacon. That's what's that? That's probably 115 or something like that. Wow, that's brutally hot. I don't imagine you've got air conditioning in your workshop, have you, Tavo? So that you'd actually do yourself some harm trying to work in a metal workshop at those temperatures. That would not be good for your health. Beagle Bob, I was in bed by 10:30. I have all of 2026 to celebrate the new year. Well, there is that. Yeah. Fred Gomez, New Year's Eve is for amateurs. Here you go. Well, I'm a seasoned expert, not an amateur when it comes to my bourbon. So yeah. What do we got? Stephen Bunkybird. Hey man, good to see you. Good to have you here. Lane Connolly, anything new with Large Marge? No. Rang and left a message for the engine builder, but he hasn't returned my call. And I've been busy little beaver at work. And a couple of cars that I've had that GTO back in, that red one that we did the engine rebuild on, that had an overfueling problem. Brand new Carter fuel pump putting out 14 PSI. And did it flood? Hell yeah, it flooded. that was way too much for the old needle and seats. So yeah, managed to get on top of that, and that's getting picked up tomorrow. So yeah, that was a frustrating one because that's kind of lost my ass a bit on that one, but because it's effectively warranty work really. He paid for a new pump, put the new pump on, had to buy another one, and different brand, and put that in, and we're right on about that 5.5, 6 pounds, and she seems quite happy. So I think the Carter one started out at that, but something happened with it, and it was I don't think I've seen quite that much fuel pressure out of a mechanical pump before. My fuel pressure gauge runs to 10, and because it's a low pressure gauge, it's one of those bigger dial ones that it doubles as a vacuum or fuel pressure, and it goes to 10, and it was halfway back around again. So I'm figuring 14, 15 psi, which was it was flooding pretty bad. But yeah, I was pondering. It did cross my mind. I'm thinking about grabbing some pieces off Large Marge and start, getting rolling on some of the bodywork that it needs. Like a couple of the doors need lower skins. The spare wheel cover needs reskinning basically, because it's part of the lower quarter. So that'll be an interesting, challenging one, because that's a lot of busy shapes to reproduce. But we'll see. Dan's Garage 03. Hi, need to build a 360 LA, and I'm concerned about cam failure. Have things gotten any better? Is one brand any better than another? Mancini Racing has one I'm interested in. Okay. Well, I mean, if you can go to I typically try and go for a roller cam these days, because of the issues they're having with flat tappet cams and the cam followers. Depends who you talk to, is whether it's the cams are the issue or the cam followers are the issue. Either way, they're tearing each other up. But if you can, I think if it was something I was going to build, for myself, well, even for a customer, obviously, because I don't want the returns, the comebacks, warranty work, whatever you want to call it. I'll always, do my very best to upsell them to a roller cam, because you just don't have those issues. Yes, it's quite a bit more money, but it's a lot of peace of mind, and it's a much better camshaft. The whole system, you do a roller cam, roller rockers, and you've improved your valve train no end. You can get a bit more lift and a bit more this and that. It's worth the dollars for the upgrade to roller cam, I think, if you can possibly afford it. Tavo, anyone else getting a slight buffer, or is it mine? Not sure, mate. I don't know. See what people say. Don Ballot, 63 here in Florida, just saying yes. It was pretty warm today. Actually, had the workshop door up and open, and wearing a t-shirt, and I was good. It was not bad at all today. I don't know whether we hit 63, but it was pretty warm. It was definitely in the 50s. Chris Freemason, no issues with him. That's good. Tavo, thanks, Chris. My end has been a bit iffy lately. Yeah, well, that's what she said. Cheers, Tavo. Roy Miller, good evening, sir. Good to have you here. Paul Funk, that's Death Valley hot. Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? Wildman retracted his message. Hopefully he puts it up again somewhere or something similar. David Tyree, Tavo, me too. Must be something down under. There you go. Huh. Tavo, aircon on in the house, no point in the workshop now. I won't be doing much, if anything, in there for quite a while, if ever. Oh, mate, really? That's no good. Can we ask what's up, bud? If ever is that's potentially a long time. Steve Sadusky, hello, Kiwi and Group. Hello, mate. How you doing? How was your new year? Wildman, I'm back. There you go. Actually, I better check my chats. What have we got? Remember to switch it to live chat. See if I get any more messages. Tavo, sipping on lemon lime cordial here. Oh, okay. It's always refreshing. I'll give you that. It's probably a little bit early to be on the terps, isn't it? Paul Funk, 50 here on the western slope of Colorado, and the mountains really need snow. Okay. 50 degrees. The 50 degrees is pretty pleasant, actually. Snow Crusher, have you watched Cold War Motors? He likes the forward look moped. Yeah, I drop in on his channel periodically. He does some cool stuff. I need to go back, and I'm sure I've missed a bunch now. I've kind of, just life's been getting in the way of everything, really. I was enjoying his video series on like effectively body swapping that 59 Impala onto another 59 Impala chassis. So I'm not quite sure whether body swap's quite the right term, but I'm sure you guys that watch him will know the one I'm talking about. Split. What was it? What did he call it? Split. Can't remember now. But that was pretty cool the way he was doing that. He had a 4-door with a good floor pan and chassis, or fairly good. A lot better than his 2-door hardtop. So he switched them over. Chris Freeman says, Scott at Cold War Motors is a great dude to subscribe to and really talented. Yeah, I'm sub to his channel. Honestly, I'm guessing I haven't got the notifications turned on, or they've been turned off or something, because I haven't seen any notifications from him for a while. So I used to get them. Thanks for reminding me, guys, because I'm going to go and dig that out, have a look, see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had notifications on, because I used to get notifications, and now I seem to have stopped. Dan's Garage, thanks, sir. I'll look into the roller cam conversion. They are pricey, mate. I know, and they are pricey. It'll probably be, $1,300 or something like that. Which is a lot more than a regular cam. But chewing a flat tappet cam up and having to go through and clean your motor and all the work of putting it back in and keeping your fingers crossed for the second one doesn't do the same thing. Because if you burn up 2 of them, you're going to have to go through your engine and do bearings, and it becomes the extra cost of the roller starts to look pretty appealing. David Tyree, 2577 here in Nelson. Yeah. Yep. It's a good temperature, man. It's a good temperature. You are kind of in the middle of summer in New Zealand, though. So, Tavo, something akin to a short circuit in the mushy thing between my ears, about all I can say. Okay, man. Well, I know I can speak for every other person on this live, and then we all wish you the best, mate, and get well soon. So, yeah. Chris Freeman, I think he took the front half of one model Chevy and grafted it into the rear of another model Chevy. Splice, it was something Chevy Impala Splice or something like that it was called. But that wasn't, it was a different model in that one was a 4-door, one was a 2-door, but it wasn't a different front, at least the one I'm talking about. I'm not saying you're wrong, but the one I'm talking about was like they cut the whole belly out of a 2-door hardtop and dropped it down onto a good 4-door floor pan and chassis. But yeah, the front, all the front sheet metal remained the same, and yeah, so did the rear. CWM calls it splice. Yeah, he just fabricated the trunk floor from scratch. Yeah, well, that's Scott for you. And I'm pretty sure you can buy trunk floors for those, but obviously that stuff's, you got a lot more shipping, more cost involved up in Canada, and I think he just gets a hell of a kick out of making it. A little bit like what we did on Steve's Chevy. That last video we did, me and Steve did, and yeah, I mean it looks fine. And if you're not, trying to, do these 100-point restorations, you just want a car that works. Why not? Why not? Paul Cochran, Scott's Biscayler is really coming along. Well, yeah, he's got a 59 Buick too. Yep. Well, he's got a bunch of cars. I really would like to, and that's kind of on my bucket list. I would like to just rock up to his place one day and like for a week and just hang out and help out. That's something I would like to do when I've got a little more time. Obviously just taking off from my shop for a week is difficult. But as the next couple of years go by, that's what I want to do more of, is just go out and hang out with some of these guys that I admire and build some cool shit, Stephen Bunkybird, Scott posts 2 videos a week. Very interesting projects. Yeah, he does. I really should be doing 2 videos a week, and I'm probably lucky to get 1 at the moment. But things are calming down a bit after, like as of tomorrow morning, like the in-laws that have been staying with us for a month, they're heading back to New Zealand, and things will get a little bit more back to normal. Not so many dashing around trying to do lots of things in the weekends and stuff like that. So certainly the aim is to trying to get back to putting two videos a week out. And I've got enough stuff in the shop, I really do, but I've just got to. It's surprising how much more time it takes when you add the equation of the videos in there. Which is why I like that last one I did, me and Steve did on Saturday, and it really didn't, maybe took us an extra half an hour added onto the day with doing the video, but it's not always like that, and it was a fairly simple video. I mean, it's and that reflects on how much it's being watched. It's not the most popular video I've ever done, and when I was editing it, it's like I probably could have done better with that video. But we were just kind of flying through it on a Saturday, and so yeah, it's good to get a little reality check like that and say I did. Obviously I watch it as I edit it, and it's like, yeah, I really could have. This could have been a better video. So sorry about that, guys, but it was a video. Craig Nearing, good evening, folks. Hey, welcome along, man. Snow Crusher, CWM, he did a 60 Fury swap and it turned out fantastic. Yeah, I've seen little bits of that, like as he's been driving around. I've seen it on some of his videos, but I haven't actually gone back and watched how he did that. But yeah, I've heard about that, and apparently it's pretty good. That's kind of part of why I'd like to go up there and spend a week up there. I've never mentioned it to the guy, so you probably think, who the hell is this? But yeah, I'd like to go and spend just a week there and just help out, do what I can, make some videos with him. I think that'd go over well. And videos for his channel, not for me. I'm thinking maybe a little, one for me or something like that, but more about just helping him out, and learning. He's a clever guy, and I'd like to think I'm moderately clever with cars, but there's always more to learn. It doesn't matter who you are. There's always more to learn. So, and I like that guy because he's very grassroots. He doesn't have all the power hammers and, all the fancy gear and all that sort of stuff. I guess why I like him a little, I feel there's a bit of a kindred spirit, like you make do with what you got and you make it work. Stephen Carter, race fans, good evening. Like the 58 Impala, neighbour had an original unrestored 58 Impala. Ugly but cool. Yeah, the 58 is a shape all of its own. Quite a unique car, actually. The dude. Hey, man, we haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Get your official Kiwi merch at Kiwi Classics My Shop. Yep. Or email your order direct to Kiwi. Yep, he's got it exactly right. Hey, welcome back, mate. Where have you been? Where have you been hiding? Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year. Yeah, as I was saying, Stephen Carter, the 58, a 1 year only body shape. A lot of the Chevys were, they would fairly major facelift, but a lot of common parts between a couple of years of a model, like 59 and 60s had a lot of similarities, and 61s and 2s had a lot of similarities, but did look different cars. And 3.4s, like they just seem to go in 2 year cycle, but not the 58. That was the 1 year only. Apparently it wasn't a big seller. It wasn't particularly well liked. It was a big change from the 57 model, and the buyers in 58 were not in love with it. Driveway of Misfits. He tried buying the trunk parts for that car, but after 6 months they didn't show up, and he said effort and made it himself. Oh, I didn't realise that, mate. I've missed all that. I do need to get back and watch it. 6 months of trying. That's surprising, but kind of not surprising at the same time. CWM is a unique craftsman. Yeah, he is, and he's. I mean, I think that's why his videos do well. He's got a lot to teach, and I would really enjoy being shoulder to shoulder with him and see what comes of it. Paul Cochrane, that would be a great visit. Yeah, I think it would. I think I'd have to wait for it to warm up a little bit, though. That might be a little cold up that neck of Canada for me at this time of year. Beagle Bob, is that red Mustang still in the shop? Yes, it is. I was actually working on it today, doing electrical on it, putting all new Dakota digital dash and stuff in it. Got to put central locking in it. And yeah, it's coming along. It's slow, but it's coming along. Stephen Bakey-Bird, remember that video. Don't need to be smooth and professional, just need to be informative. You and Scott both teach well on your videos. Well, thank you, man. That's what I try and do, honestly. That's what I try and do. And yeah, I try harder at that than being smooth and slick, which is probably just as well because I'm not smooth and slick. Shane EV Max. What are your thoughts on the United States capturing the president of Venezuela? Well, we try and stay away from the politics, Shane, honestly. It's just not, there's a lot of places to discuss politics, and it's very polarizing, and people get very wound up about it. And I'm not saying that's not justified. I'm not, again, I'm not a political commentator. I'm not, and it's not. We're just here to have some lighthearted fun, and I do think it's a big deal. I think it's quite a big deal, and what's actually longer term, what's going to come of it, I just don't know. But I'm certainly not going to get into the rights and wrongs of it. Not here. It's just not the platform for it. But Shane, I appreciate your input and you being here. But yeah, we just try and stay away from the politics, as we just want to all be buddies on this place, and politics has a way of messing that up. Don's Manufacturing, hey, welcome along, bud. Good to have you here. Snow Crusher, Carl Fisher of Make It Custom is another very, very talented Canadian metal crafter. Okay, Make It Custom. I've heard of that. I've seen bits and pieces of that come across my feed. The name's familiar. Tavo, have a good close look at a 58. It is an evolution of the 55 through 7. Yeah, it is. I get what you're saying, but the stampings, like the floor pan and the glass and stuff like that is not, is not the same as a 55 and 7. Like most of the glass in the 55 to 7 is the same. The roof line's essentially the same. There's a lot of close similarity. Obviously, the outer skin and the quarters and fenders and doors are different, but there's quite a lot of stuff in a structure that is the same. And I do think The 58 had a lot of differences. But yeah, definitely an evolution. I get that. Hansabar, I made it. Well, good to have you here, mate. Stephen Carter, Todd, you online. Oh, Todd Denier. Yeah, I haven't seen him pop up yet. And who we got here? Sorry, guys, 88. Happy New Year, Kiwi. Hey, man, thank you so much for the super chat. That's extremely generous. Thank you very much. It all helps. That's awesome. Thank you, sir. I hope you had a great New Year. Feel free to chime in and tell us your story. What sort of mischief did you get up to on New Year's? I want to hear some funny, embarrassing stories. I want to, so tell me all about it. How else is on there? Snow Crusher, Dad had a 58 Bel-Air, the first car I ever drove. Wow, that's awesome. Stephen Bunky Bird, I believe there was a recession in 58, which has probably impacted the car sales. Yeah. I don't know, mate. I don't know. My history is not that detailed. The dude, just been busy working. What did you get for Christmas? Mate, believe it or not, I got a set of a pair of slippers. That's like Ugg boots, which is for winter around the house wearing. So, but yeah, we had, the wife and I, there's really not that much little bits and pieces we want for Christmas. We just enjoy having the family around. The presents is kind of secondary. Lots of presents is for the little ones, for me anyway. So yeah, not a lot for Christmas, but we had a very good Christmas as well. A lot of family around, all the kids, in-laws, that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was fun. Hansabar, what are your top 5 shop tools? Okay, top 5 shop tools. Interesting question. Probably one of them, my little shrinker stretcher is a very valuable tool if you're doing any kind of metal shaping. Shrinker stretcher with a few extra dies and stuff. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The shrinker stretcher and then the bead roller would probably be right up there as well. And nothing exotic there. I think that's a couple of $100 bead roller with another extra set of dies that I got for doing a little bit more stuff. And what else would there be? Slip roller, which is that can go for quite a while not used, the slip roller, and then suddenly you're doing something and it's like super useful, and it can make your work look gives it quite a professional, more professional look, rather than trying to bend something around a oxyacetylene bottle or something like that. And if you know how to drive the slip roller, you can get different radius at either end of the what you're working on. So you can get a tapered, round piece of metal. It's like conical shaped almost. What else would there be? What else? MIG and TIG welder, plasma cutter would be right up there. I think that's 5 roughly. But yeah, those things would probably be it. The other one, angle grinder. The angle grinder, cut off wheel, flat disc. Use that a lot. I've worn out several sets of brushes and my angle grinders. I use them a lot. Got a little behind. I've been rambling. Got a little behind on the questions. There we go. Steve Sadusky, took 6 months for the upper door panels for my 85 Monte Carlo from PUI, but the wait was well worth it. It can be. There's a lot of stuff on back order at the moment. A lot of stuff on back order, and it's all because of these tariffs. So I guess Scott got caught on that with his floor pans, and I guess you did too, Steve, on your door panels. Paul Funk, no politics. We talk about booze and cars. We also like to talk about the weather. Yep, this is true. Tavo, he can come for elbow next. Tavo, he can come for elbow next. End of subject. Okay, not sure what that means, Tavo. He can come for elbow next. Okay, I'm not sure, mate. Sorry. David Torrey, oh, come on, what's wrong with politics and religion? We would discuss Richard the Lionheart and the Crusade. Well, I could do, I could deal with, but not current politics, no, or religion for that matter. Dave 8334, that would lead to Monty Python discussion. Yeah, I just watched a movie, Fackham House, FACK, HAM, Fackham House, and that was a Jimmy Carr movie, and it's very Monty Python-esque in its humour and the way it's written. Quite a good movie. Quite a good movie. A couple of people that were watching it with us kind of weren't taken with it, but you can't please all the people all the time. Stephen Bunkybird, 58 Chevrolet, mostly a one-year car. 59 to 64 have similar architecture. Yeah, yep, I agree. The dude, she should have got you plane tickets for Spring Carlisle. There you go. Oh, what date's Spring Carlisle? Not make, don't, just curious, I've got a lot to do this year. I'm sure I could look myself, but I'm guessing you have an inside line onto when it's on. Driveway of Misfits, what did you give Kev for Christmas? And more importantly, what did Kev steal for your Christmas gift? Yeah, he tried to, he tried to give me an empty bottle of bourbon, but yeah, that didn't really go over too well. And yeah, he got his freedom to roam the house for a week or so. So that was his Christmas present, mate. Nothing too exotic. Craig Nearing, Kiwi, where do you buy your steel? From there's a metal place in Nashville. Oh, what's it called? Metal Supermarket or something like Metal. Jeez, I can't remember now. It's in my phone. Usually get it from there. It's there like a metal wholesaler. I don't know whether they're a wholesaler, but that's all they sell is metal. They don't make stuff. They don't. They just sell metal in bulk. Get all my sheet metal from there. Heavier gauge stuff, box, tube, rectangle. They've got all that stuff. I can't think of the name. I think it's Metal Supermarket, but I'm not sure. I just know where it is, and the phone number. What else we got here? Craig Need Carey did that one. Charles Dalton, 58. There was a very sharp, somewhat short recession. Okay, it was great for AMC and their smaller cars, but it impacted most car manufacturers. Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Okay. Dude, what did you get for Bordeaux? Not a damn thing. That would be my answer. Not a damn thing. Never even crossed my mind. Tavo Albo, Anthony Albanese, Aussie Prime Minister. Okay. Yes. Yep. I'm with you there. I get it. I get you now, brother. I get you now. Steve Sadusky. We also talk about the trouble Kev gets into. Yes, we do, and he has a much busier life than I ever imagined he would. Yes. Chris Freemuser, yes, Kev's extensive rap sheet is always a great discussion fodder. Yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's his persona has grown out of all expectations on my part, anyway. But yeah, it's all part of the fun, isn't it? Stephen Carter, love the dry wit goes over most heads. Yeah, it is very dry. Yeah. That's a lot of British humour is like that, and particularly Monty Python. Yeah, and I can't do all Monty Python. Like some of it's a little bit hard, a little bit over the top, if that's the right term. But yeah, some of it leaves me a little cold, and some of it's just hysterical. I mean, I also like the young ones, which yeah, I mean that'll the people that ever watched Young Ones, loved it. It was certainly good British humour. And there's bits of it on YouTube. It's really funny if you search the Young Ones. It's like about four flatmates in England, and three of them were like college students, and just the crazy shit they got up to was pretty funny. And of course, Vivian, who was one of them, who was a punk rocker, he was just hysterical. The Do, April 22nd to 26th. Okay, April. Who knows? You never know. I keep saying I'm going to try and get to more events, so maybe I'll actually do it. Who knows? Depends if I ever get caught up. But when you've got cars that have been at the shop for over a year, you got to get something done. Stephen Bakey-Bird, yeah. The problem with discussing politics and religion is there's typically a minority in any group who gets upset and ruins the learning and understanding for others. Yeah, it's just such a volatile subject, and they there's that old saying, you don't discuss politics and religion in a friends and family atmosphere, and that's kind of what I think we are. So yeah, there's certainly like politics needs to be discussed. It does, but yeah, in the right time, in the right space. Chris Freemes, OMFG. What does that stand for again? Oh, I think I know. The University Challenge episode of Young Ones is hysterical. Yes, it is. And I always loved their video of Living Doll with Cliff Richards. That was hysterical as well. Tavo, Vivian, Rick with a silent P, Neil and Mike, yes. Yeah, Mike wasn't a college student, but he was a little bit older, but very funny program. Hansabar, is there any guide for how replacement metal parts are named for unibodies? Not that I'm aware of. No. It would be quite useful because when you don't know, it's very hard trying to explain what it is you're asking for, or even go searching for if you're searching online. Like upper valances and lower valances and stone guards and filler panels and deck filler panels. And, there's lots of names out there, and then of course you get the whole American, English, European, Kiwi, Australian terminologies. Are all different. And yeah, that was challenging when I first got here to not speak, not ask for parts in New Zealand speak, and asking for stuff that people just didn't understand what I was asking for. But no, Hansabar, that would be useful for a lot of people, but I'm not aware of one. Snow Crusher, Faulty Towers was good. Yes, it was very good. Sorry, guys, SPG was asleep on the radiator. Do we have a video? We should have video. You should be watching me. Charles Dalton, Jess Bouquet. Benny Hill was a genius. He could make me laugh harder just by looking at the camera than most comedians can do in a 60-minute stand-up. Yep, he was funny. The Dude, I think I only started bugging you about in March last year. I got a head start this time. There you go. Yeah, you did. So you never know. It might work out. Stephen Bakey-Bird, I'm going to the Nashville swap meet in a month. Is anyone else going? Is that the Nashville Swap Meet? Which one? Which event is that? Is that the Redneck Rumble? No, it's too early for the Redneck Rumble, isn't it? Which event's that? Stephen Carter. This is a family show. LOL. Moving on. Yes. David Torrey, did you say politics was disgusting? No, I didn't say that. But yeah, as I said, it has a time and a place, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of politics. I'm not. I personally feel like I can't impact it much, do much about it. You've just got to kind of follow along. So I tend not to watch a lot of it. Andy A 857 drinking Cardonis single flask Sublime. Very nice. Yeah, mate, I am getting close to a refill. Well, a little bit to go. Yeah, Fred Gomez. I need a refill. I always need a refill, mate. I always need a refill. Lane Connolly, wings, boots, and bonnets are not generally car parts in the US. Well, that's right. That's absolutely right. Here's one you may not have heard of: a turret. Have you ever ordered a turret? See if you know what I'm talking about. When I went to an auto body school, a roof. Oh shit! Next comment down. You just got me. I didn't read fast enough. Yes, a roof was called a turret top. Yeah, exactly, a turret. So that's a Canadian thing as well, huh? Okay. Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder a bit there, Snow Crusher. Chris Freeman, Lane Connolly. Don't forget windscreens. Yes, that's right. What's wrong with a windscreen? Is a thing. Kiwi would know what an offside wing mirror is. Yes, that would be the left side, not the driver's side, but the offside. And I'm going right for driver's side, and then the left side, passenger side, was the offside. So, yeah. Here, I guess in the States, the offside would be the right side. Stephen Bunkybird, the AACA one at Nashville Speedway. Set up January 31 and open to the public February 1. The dude. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, mate. Too bad you weren't born in the USA. I bet you could be president, Kiwi. Mate, I don't think I'd have the stomach for it. I really don't. I don't. Yeah. Say what you will about whichever president you want. Yeah, that's. They're not a job I would aspire to. I'll be honest with you. I just don't think I could do the politicking in politics. I don't think I could do it. Yeah, you've got to be a special kind of demeanour to do that. I think I'd just give up and walk away. 3 months into my first term, probably. Josh Homan, near side and offside. Yeah, yep. This is absolutely right. All right, what do we got here? Chris Freemason, you could be Secretary of Transportation. Tell you what I would do if I was that, I would bring in safety, and this would piss a lot of people off, but I would do it, and that would be bring in safety checks, like nationwide. Not as strict as we have in New Zealand and Australia, but I would bring them in. I see too much crap on the roads, dangerous crap, and that needs to happen. But yeah, that's kind of, we're talking politics in a way, a roundabout way. David Tyree could always be a benevolent dictator. Well, that's me in the shop, mate. I'm the dictator in the shop. But unfortunately, I have very few subjects, so it's a very small kingdom, That's funny. Benevolent dictator. Kind of a contradiction in terms, really, isn't it? Nose for nitro. You have knowledge, skills, scruples, and integrity. You're not qualified. That's the nicest thing as anyone said to me in 2026, mate. So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad to not be qualified. Um, Chavo, bonnet, boot, guard, half shaft, prop shaft, rocker cover. Yep, plenty more not coming to mind. Yeah. Um, Prop shaft, yeah, we also call them drive shafts, which I think that's the name here. Aussies also call it tail shaft too, don't they? They refer to the drive shaft as a tail shaft. Um, what's another one? Pilot bearing. We call that a spigot bearing. The bearing that goes in the flywheel or the back of the crank. On a manual transmission car. We call that a spigot bearing. I think that's a carryover from Britain. I think it's a British terminology. But yeah, spigot bearing. Here they call taps spigots. So, I mean, I don't get the connection there, but hey, what you going to do? When someone first time I heard someone say turn the spigot on, I'm like, what? what on earth do you mean? Charles Dalton quoting Will Rogers, politic comes from Latin, poly meaning many and tick meaning blood-sucking leeches. That's as political as I'll get. That's pretty good. I can be on board with that. Yeah. Poly meaning many. That's pretty good. Stephen Bakey more safety checks would also bring in more bureaucracy, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree 100%. But having lived at both ends of the spectrum in New Zealand, where it's like super tough, and here in most states in the US where there's no safety inspection, I've lived at that end of the spectrum, and I think we need somewhere in the middle. People need to be driving cars that aren't horrendously rust compromised, like structurally compromised. People need to be driving cars that have functioning brakes, have wheel bearings that don't have massive amounts of slop in them and making all sorts of noises, and ball joints that are so worn they're falling apart, like literally just coming apart. That's that. People do get hurt, but the government here doesn't really care because it doesn't cost them anything. One I have to say about the Australian and New Zealand system is they make you look after your cars and keep them safe. They sell it. Typical politicians, they sell it that they're looking after their people. And they're making sure they're safe, and they're making sure the cars are safe for them. That's not why they do it. They do it to keep the medical bills down. It's that simple. Because the government pays for the medical bills when you have a crash, an accident. They want you to have less accidents, so they want you to be driving safer cars. It's like politics. It's all about the money. That's why they have safety checks. But like saving people's lives is not a bad thing. Tavo, yes, also tail shaft. What US call a tail shaft, we call output shaft and extension housing. Yes, yep. Tail shaft and tail shaft housing, or output extension housing. Yeah, yep. So many names. David Tyree, Stephen Bunkybird, you're not wrong. It's out of hand here in New Zealand. Yeah, it is. It is, and very. Doesn't matter. It seems to me that it doesn't. Like nobody's got all the answers right. No one country has got it figured out, because if they did, everyone would be doing it that way. But finding that sweet spot in the middle somewhere between nothing and over the top safety is. Quite exactly where that lands, I'm not sure, and how do you police it, and it's a simple thing to say. It's another thing to make it happen. Paul Funk, Colorado dropped safety inspections in favor of emission tests in 81, and it killed the glass business. Like windshields, windscreens, whatever you want to call them. Nick, is that what you're talking about? I'm guessing. So yeah, people just didn't replace their cracked windshields when they dropped the safety inspection, I guess. Tavo, UK MOT seems fair. Warrant of fitness and Aussie RWC, the car has to be like brand new. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's too much. It is too much. But yeah. I mean, the cars do need to be kept in good condition, but yeah, not like brand new. Because they're only brand new for a day. If you're going to be really tough about it, they're any car is on the downhill run from the day it rolls off the assembly line. Every mile it's a mile older. It's kind of like us, really. Every day goes by, we're a little bit worse for wear, aren't we? Snow Crusher, safety inspections are required up in Manitoba. I do motorcycle safety inspections. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. I think they should have them, because a lot of times people, it's kind of what I've come across. There's two people. There's people that know there's something wrong with the car and they just choose to ignore it, don't want to spend the money to fix it, and they'll just ride it out for as long as they possibly can, even though they know it's dangerous. And then there's the other people that are driving dangerous cars and have no idea. They just don't know. Because not everyone knows when that odd rattle when you hit a bump is not a good sound. Not everybody knows that. And you don't know what you don't know. Classic one was, I felt so, I was angry and also kind of embarrassed or annoyed with myself. My son, when he's like 16, we lived about a 3-minute drive from his work, and he came out to his car and he had a flat tire, and he thought, I'll drive it to work. He was late for work, and he thought, I'll just drive it up to work and change it after work. He thought he could do that, and I'd never. And that's a failing on my part. I'll own that. It's and I did. I wanted to get angry with him because he destroyed his tire. A couple $100 tire, and I'm like, my reaction was, what the hell did you do that for? But I had to go, shit, did I ever tell him that you couldn't do that? And I hadn't. So he didn't know what he didn't know. Now he knows. And of course, cost me a couple $100 for a tire. So I know now as well. Explain to your kids what's going on with their car, and it was kind of internally embarrassing for me to have a child that of mine that knew so little about cars. It was like, wow, I've kind of failed there. Some people drive on flat tires. They drive with terribly noisy bearings and ball joints, and they just don't know until someone says, hey, you can't do that. That needs to be replaced, and now. Chris Freemasson, annual safety inspections are mandatory here in New York. They are neither unreasonably difficult nor expensive. That's awesome. It should be like that nationwide. So Chris, how are they? What are they like on rust? Because you must have some rust issues up there in New York with all the. I'm assuming you put salt on all your snowy roads, so you must have some rust issues up there. David Tyron, the biggest problem with vehicles is that up behind the wheel. My father always said that, and he was a policeman. There's no, and that be that the way they're driving, the maintenance of the vehicle they're driving, it all comes back to the nut behind the wheel. Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong, and I'm sure he saw a lot of it. Paul Funk, people will drive up I-70 with bull tires in the snowstorm and get stuck and cause a massive traffic jam. Yeah, those people annoy you. Barry Cooter, hey man, how you doing? Good to have you here. Good to have you here. How's the weather up back there in NZ? My in-laws are heading back there in the morning. I'm up at like crack of dawn tomorrow to get them out to the airport. So yeah, I think they're going back into good weather, but I mean, we've got pretty good weather here too. Josh Homan, reasonable safety inspections don't bother me any. No, they can do you a favour because often you don't get an audible warning of an issue. It doesn't always work that way, and if you're tuned in enough to your car to be able to hear it, that noise is just not always there. So Paul Funk, yes, windshields. Yeah, I think okay, cool. Well, yeah, so people just carry on. Don't worry about it. Just look through the crack. Mind the price of windshields today. Jeez. Some of these newer cars are getting very expensive windshields. Tavo, Doctor House pay Barracuda. Oh, for being an hour late. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair, Tavo. Craig Nearing, there was a driver that came past the house here every day with a really nasty connecting rod knock. It went on for almost 2 weeks. Couldn't figure out what the knock was or who was trying to get into the car. And in fact, it was the Conrod trying to get out. Barracuda, can't you review that, Tavo? Well, that's up to Tavo, isn't it? Yeah. Some of these Aussies can be pretty tough, Barry. Chris Freeman, oh, hell yeah, the roads are salted. Rust is a big problem here. Not sure exactly what the specific rust inspection rules are, though. Well, I don't think it's got any easier in New Zealand, but I'm not up to speed with the New Zealand rules. But when I lived there, I'm pretty sure I've got this right, but any hole in the bodywork, and it didn't matter where on the bodywork, it could have been a front lower valance or a rear valance, something that's like, serves no real purpose other than aesthetics. And if you had a hole in it that you could get a finger through, then you failed your inspection. And that can be like the hood, the bonnet, whatever you want to call it, could have a rust hole in it and you would fail. And there was made some sense because typically where there's rust, there's more rust, and that was the premise of the rule. If there was any visible perforation rust, then you were failed. Beagle Bob, anywhere there are safety inspections, there are shady shops that will pass without looking for some extra cash, especially with emissions, but with safety too. Beagle Bob, you're absolutely right. That used to happen in New Zealand all the time. Some places would write warrants, without even seeing a car, if you knew the right person. I mean, corruption is going to happen no matter what you're doing, and on many levels of all sorts of things. So that is, I mean, that's the trick question. Do you go, well, okay, that's going to go on, so let's throw our hands up and just abandon the idea? It's there's always going to be crime, but should we get rid of the police? I'll be careful here. We're flirting with politics. Paul Cochran, South Main Auto is a New York guy, always dealing with rust. Excellent diagnostician, Eric is. Okay, South Main Auto. Chris Freemesser. SMA is about 40 minutes south of me. Okay. David Tyree, they're talking about 30 over quite a bit of the country by the weekend. Oh, nice. That's toasty warm, isn't it? Stephen Bunkybird. In Tennessee, we may not have inspections, so we die like men. Yes, no airbags. Airbags are banned. We die like men. That's the one. Lane Connolly, what is the best way to weld in prefabricated torque boxes? 68 Valiant, drill holes and rosette welds. Yeah, really. Yeah, a good size, at least really a 3/8 hole, preferably. 5/16, but that's a minimum. 3/8 preferably, because you're welding fairly heavy gauge. I would imagine torque boxes typically. So yeah, that's what I do: drill holes and rosette welds, and plenty of them. They need to be tied to everything else as well as you possibly can. And don't, if you've got somewhere where you can in the corners, just run a nice, an inch long bead along some of the edges as well as the rosette welds. Like, you can't really, it's not like you're going to mess it up by putting too many welds in there. So yeah, and make sure the heat's well up on your welder. And yeah, it's that sort of thing. I always try and be biting it a little to not blow a hole through. If you're welding like 14 gauge, which is what your torque box should be made of, would be 14 gauge. So you can pour a fair bit of heat in there, and if you find you're blowing a hole here and there, then it's like, okay, I'm getting good penetration. Yes, especially if you're MIG welding, it's very easy to MIG weld on top of things and not actually penetrate down into the work you're trying to connect it to. So plenty of juice. Try and push the juice up till it's a little bit more than what you're really comfortable with. You kind of have to push yourself a little bit. I believe anyway. Yeah. Tavo, a fellow Aussie YouTuber, Tavo Trav, no relation, has a playlist trying to get an RWC on his Holden Commodore. Yeah, that's the safety inspection. Some absolutely ridiculous stuff getting failed on. Mate, I can well believe it. I've actually mistook him for you one time, remember? But yeah, no, I've got the difference now. And yeah, his is it modified, Tavo? Because that would just make it even harder, won't it? Charles Dalton, have to go. Take care, everyone. Have a great week. See you next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday, Charles. Thanks for coming in. Peckerwood Customs. What a great name for a hot rod shop. Peckerwood Customs. Howdy, Kiwi and chat. Well, hello, Peckerwood Customs. Good to have you here, mate. Paul Cochrane, Chris Freemasson, looks like a beautiful part of the country. It is. I like New York. I do. I've been there a couple of times. I like New York. Peckerwood Customs. South Main Auto is the diagnosis king, and some of the trucks he gets in are bad for us, but they keep driving them. Yeah, it's it's got to be. I mean, it's tough in some of those areas. The rust is, 5 years old, and the cars are in bad shape, and people can't afford to just keep buying a new car every 5 years, so they tend to keep driving them. Jeff Hutchins, 10 customers were clingy tonight. Just got rid of them. Oh, that's good, mate. Good. Pull up a chair, take a seat, and tell us what you got up to for New Year's. Chris Freemasson, yeah, he's down in the Finger Lakes area of New York. Really beautiful area. Lots of cool small cities, towns down there. Pretty area. So many pretty, very pretty areas in the States. I often get people commenting about, they say where you're from, and I'll say New Zealand, and they'll say, oh, it's so beautiful down there, and it's this and it's that, and it's like, take a good look around in your own backyard, because there's a lot of amazing places in the States. I can see, it's easy for me. It's easy to see why there's quite a few Americans have never travelled out of the country, because they've got a lot to see at home before they need to think about going overseas. Down in New Zealand, it's a lot smaller. We get a lot more people, a lot more Kiwis travel because the country's so much smaller, and it's not very long as you hit your 20s, like late 20s. You've often seen most of New Zealand, and it's like, well, what else can we do? Dumpty-doo, dumpty-do, what are we going to do? Where are we going on holiday? And we've been there twice. We've been here twice. We've been somewhere else twice, and let's go overseas. Snow Crusher. I bought a. What does that say? Safe tied car with no front bumper or even windshield wiper arms, but at least all the lights work. So what does that mean, Snow Crusher? I bought a safe tied car. What's a safe tied car? Or safety? Safety. Oh, like safety inspected. Is that what you mean? Okay. Takes a while. I must have had too much bourbon, I think. Brain was going a little slow there. Yeah. Well, the bumper, that's not a big deal. Windshield wipers are nice when it's raining, but at least the lights work. Well, yeah, it helps to. It's always nice to know what you're about to crash into once you see through the windshield, because the wipers weren't working. David Tyree, flirting, isn't it fun? Well, yes, I'll give you that. Jeff Hutchins, my problem with inspections is one, more Big Brother. Yep. Vast majority of accidents have nothing to do with the equipment. I'm not sure on the stats of it, to be honest, Jeff. I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't. I think there's a good. Yeah, you're probably right, because the human error aspect of it is, as you say, the vast majority have nothing to do with the equipment. It's the loosen up behind the wheel. Weather is next. Yeah, but the weather is the weather. See, I've had, especially when my kids were going through the driving things, and two or three of their mates, there's always one of them that just hydroplaned, or just aquaplaned. There was nothing Johnny could do, Yeah, there was. Johnny could have gone slower. You've actually got to be driving reasonably fast in very heavy rain to truly aquaplane, or hydroplane, as they call it here. So yeah, the weather. I mean, the nut behind the wheel needs to adjust what he's doing to suit the weather. The weather is what the weather is. You can't blame it. It doesn't. Heavy rain doesn't reach out and crash your car. You crash. The driver crashes his car because he didn't adjust to the weather, in my opinion. So. But yeah, it would be interesting if there is any actual hard and fast stats on that as to how many of the accidents. Maybe I'm pushing a wheelbarrow that doesn't need to be pushed, but I feel like it does. But maybe mechanical failures aren't that big a impact. But some of the freaking dangerous shit I see come through the shop, it's like, wow. I've said to a few people, you don't drive this home. Like, get it towed home. If you don't want to leave it here and get it fixed, get it towed, because it's just dangerous. And it's happened on several occasions. Tavo, Trav's Commodore has a VN injected 304, otherwise pretty well stocked. HDT replica. VK had a carbide 308. Yeah, well, he's changed just enough and made it look like an HDT car. So, yeah, he's kind of, he's red flagged himself for a bit of special attention, hasn't he? Unfortunately, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't. I get it, but yeah, it's if it had been silver and stock wheels and looking like grandma's VK Holden, he might have got away with it a bit easier. Beagle Bob, if I remember correctly from welding classes, you want 1 amp per 1000 inch. I haven't heard that formula before. I'll be honest with you, Beagle, but that 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 sounds fairly logical, actually. Um, that's probably not a bad place to start. Yeah, yeah. I guess for me, I just like if I'm not, I try and have enough power in it that if I'm not careful, I'll blow a hole. So like I've got to pay attention to what I'm doing, otherwise I'll blow a hole, and then I'm kind of feel like I've got well and truly enough amps into it. Um, but yeah, if you just keep welding and never blow a hole in anything, I don't think you've got enough juice going in there. Unless you're an absolute superstar at welding, I guess that's different. But yeah. Jeff Hutchins, vast majority, not vast. They might be bastards, but they're not the vast amount of bastards. First inspector failed him because he didn't know if he needed an engineer's certificate for the bolt-in engine swap. Oh, good lord! Yeah, and he didn't, I assume. Barracuda. I had a Makita angle grinder, corded. It lasted more than 15 years. I replaced it with a Ryobi, and it lasted for part afternoon. Oh, good grief! Wow, I haven't managed to kill one in that quickly. No, mate. I've got a couple of. I've got 3 Craftsman angle grinders, which you don't get in New Zealand. I get it, but not a high dollar electric tool. Not a low dollar one, but not, I guess, middle of the range, mid to high. But yeah, the only problem I have with it wears out brushes eventually. $5 for a set of brushes and carry on. Yeah, Ryobi do some pretty cheap, shitty tools these days. They used to be not bad, not awesome, but not bad. Now they are bad. Peckerwood Customs, Tavo, where you at? I'm an Aussie too. Amberley, Queensland. There you go. David Torrey, I've been overseas. It's called the North Island. Well, yes, I guess that's technically correct. Tavo, mid-north of South Australia, sheep country. Yep, we're men and sheep are nervous. That's the one. Jeff Hutchins, you're right. Most weather is still the loose nut. Cheers, mate. We're on the same page. Chris Burton, I've seen some janky stuff in my life, Kiwi. Yeah, I tell you what, I've seen more of it. Like I've been in the States. I've had my shop going since 2011, and so that's what now 14, 15 years. Yeah, I've seen way more in that time than all my previous time put together of janky stuff. Really, just shit that people should get away with and shouldn't be doing. Repairing chassis rails with corrugated cardboard and undercoat, is not okay. That's just that needs to be stopped, in my opinion, for what that's worth. Peckerwood Customs, Tavo, nice. Probably been moving back to South Australia in 2026. Well, that's now, mate. Peckerwood, that's kind of like now, or well, okay, in the next 12 months. David Torrey, I was taught to drive to the conditions. Well, yeah, that's what everybody should be taught, mate. That's what everybody should be taught. Not everybody understands, though, what the conditions are. I think most people know that, but they don't really grasp the conditions fully. If it's snowing, most people know that it's snowing, but they don't really grasp how much slower they need to be going. And, cold, wet, it's all same applies. Snow Crusher. Safety inspections were brought in here after the New and Used Car Dealers Association lobbied the government. Follow the money thing. Interesting. The New and Used Car Dealers Association lobbied the government. That's interesting. I find that a little surprising. Huh. Okay. Jeff, where'd that go? Oh, shut up the page here. Hang on. There we go. Jeff Hutchins, you can definitely sue someone with an unsafe vehicle that caused an accident, but those people usually have nothing to lose. Dollars doesn't fix your back or bring back the dead either. It's a dilemma. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. And yeah, I used to hate having to do the safety inspections every 6 months in New Zealand. It used to drive me mad, I'll be honest. I really disliked it, thought it was stupid, over the top and all the rest of it. And then I came here and went, okay, I'm starting to understand it. Because, people need to be, some of the public, and that's what I mean when I say people, not everybody, but too many people need to be protected from themselves. Because those unsafe vehicles, and say that those people usually have nothing to lose and they don't care, and you need to be protected from those people. Paul Bruno, hey, welcome along, bud. Running late tonight, but I'm here. Well, that's the main thing, mate. That's the main thing. Tim Miller's arrived. Yeah, what have we got? 8:22. You're in for the last third. So there you go. That's not too bad. Yes, dear 6904. I never see the height option while you are live, only after. Oh, okay. I've never actually looked on the height option, sort of on the lives, for doing it on the live. I didn't even know that was a thing for the lives, but no, okay, so you only do it afterwards, which is, yeah, I mean, it's actually surprising how many people do watch the live after it's finished, and it typically will double, but I guess that's just timing. People come on and watch it later because they go, the time frame just doesn't fit, 7 till 9 on a Tuesday night. But yeah, I mean, anytime you hype the channel, no matter what it is, it's all good. Tim Miller, tried steel cutting wheels with diamonds. Yeah, I have. And I'm not a big fan. They kind of, they really chew through shit. They chew it up. They do last. They don't wear away like a regular cut-off wheel. But yeah, they're a little aggressive, a little brutal, a little hard to control. With a thin cut-off wheel, I can do some fairly nice, neat cuts. And I was having trouble doing that with the steel diamond ones. You've only got to move your blade a little bit, wiggle it a little bit, and you end up with a 3/16 of an inch wide cut instead of a 32nd to a like maybe a 16th on a thin disc. I use a fairly thin cut-off wheel, and I can do quite nice, neat cuts with it. So yeah, I tried that steel diamond, and it's sat in the drawer at work, and I don't use it. Chris Freemason, I have several Ryobi tools. They are serviceable for a DIY using them occasionally. Yeah, and I think that's, I guess, horses for courses, isn't it? DIY using them occasionally is a very different world to getting used almost every day, which is what I do. So, yeah, Ryobi years back used to be pretty solid stuff, and then they went down it has to be cheaper than everyone else sort of wormhole, and they did get very cheap, and all the quality went away. But my old man was a shocker for that. He would go like to the warehouse, which is like a discount department store in New Zealand, and he'd buy the cheapest hand drill, like electric corded drill, and he'd destroy it in an afternoon and then take it back under warranty, And I would say to him, why don't you just buy it, like just lay the money down and buy a good one? He goes, oh, no, I can just take it back and they give me a new one. And he didn't seem to mind going down and standing in the queue at customer services to get a new one that he would destroy the next time he used it. It didn't bother him. I don't have the patience for that. I would rather drop some money on one that's going to last me 10 years. But my old man was a shocker for doing that stuff. He almost treated it like a challenge to like see how quick I don't think he consciously did it, but I think there was an element in there that the sooner he destroyed it, the sooner he could go back and get a new one under warranty. Didn't make sense to me, but hey. Tarbo, Trav eventually got the car passed, no engineer's cert. Some of the issues were surface rust inside the boot where the paint had chipped off, a bit of dirt on the radiator support that got painted. Yeah, that's not safety. Excuse me, guys. That's not safety. That's someone being a pain in the ass is what it is. But yeah, that's the problem with it, the bureaucracy side of it. When you get into the safety stuff, some of the people that do those jobs, they're like little clipboard holding, white coat wearing, chip on their shoulder guys that couldn't make it as a mechanic, and then they get a job doing safety inspections, and they're desperate to find an issue with your car to show how important they are, so they can put something on their clipboard to show everyone what a good job they're doing and how nobody gets a bad car by me because I'm so good. And it's like, get a life. Said it looked like rust bubbles. Yeah. Well, if you don't know the difference between a bit of paint over dirt and rust bubbles, you shouldn't be making calls about rust bubbles. Very, very different. Jeff R, hi all, bit late, seeking shelter from the heat. Tarbo, bit warm up your way. Yeah, he's at 40 degrees, mate. He's up 40 degrees up there. Oh, he's already answered that. There we go. 3 days of 40 plus. I need to catch up, don't I? Jeff Hutcher. Oh, what happened to that? There we go. Hang on. Jeff Hitchens, I'm pretty satisfied with Ryobi 18-volt cordless, but I've killed a 1/2-inch impact. My 4-inch grinder has no power. The Milwaukee DeWalt tools have at least just that bit more power or speed, side-by-side comparison. Yeah, you sit there and you got to pay a bit more for them, don't you? I've got a cordless grinder, and I like it, but you can't do anything heavy cutting with it. If you're really wanting to do it, it's good for nicking things, for cutting a little bit of something off. But if you lean into it, it just kills the battery. And that's a Makita one. It's a good one, and it's lasted a long time. But it doesn't do the level of work that a mains power grinder will do. Not even close. But it's a very, very handy tool. I've cut stuff off cars where I've not had access to mains power, and as long as you've got a couple of fresh batteries, you're in pretty good shape. But don't expect to do it super fast. Barracuda, Moving On was one of my favorite TV shows in the 70s. Moving On, I know the name. What was that about? Moving On. The name's familiar, but I can't remember the show. Josh Homan, there's no opinion about it. Cardboard is not a fix. No, I agree, and it's just plain dangerous. Josh Homan, let's not forget expanding foam painted black. Yes, seen more than my fair share of that too. Like stuff carved out of that expanding foam. And what gets me is they spent some time disguising it. Like they did quite a good job of carving it and getting it the right shape, and then disguising it and making it look like it wasn't there. Like it was it wasn't really a fix in it, but it certainly wasn't a 5-minute fix. They spent some time on it. Tavo, we get in trouble driving to the conditions. Outback highway conditions say 100 mile per hour is safe. Police disagree. Yes. Yeah, there are some open speed limit areas, aren't there? In the outback. Peckerwood. DeWalt moved their battery tool manufacturing to mostly in China now. Another good one gone. Yeah. Peckerwood, LOL, Tavo. I noticed those signs disappeared too. Okay. So they've dropped that, have they? Interesting. Ooh, Barracuda, the Roby grinder stripped its aluminum gears fast. That's crazy. What? That's bizarre to make those gears. Those work very hard in a grinder, and they made them out of aluminum. That's bizarre. I don't know whose bright idea that was. Jeff Hutchins, for the record, I'm still 100% against inspections. We can agree to disagree. There had to be something we disagree on. I see your side for sure. I just don't want more babysitting government. Yeah, I understand, mate, and that's quite okay that we agree to disagree. Yeah, it doesn't upset me, mate. That's fine, and I understand your reasoning. I do, and I don't want more babysitting from the government either. But so yeah, that but is where we disagree. So that's okay. Steve Sadusky, what's wrong with covering a rotted frame rail with newspaper and then spraying undercoating over at Kiwi? What's wrong? I think you know what's wrong with that, Mr. Sadusky. Yeah, I know you're just being silly. David Tyree, chicken mesh and bog. Yes, well, I've come across that a few times in my day, but it's usually like at the bottom of quarters and stuff like that, bottom of doors and stuff like that. But yeah, when it's in a chassis rail, that's a problem, especially on like a full chassis car. When the chassis is all it is, the rest of it is, the body is a tin can, to hold the paint up. So yeah, on a full chassis car, they need the chassis. But people still do it. PT Dave 2002, as ethanol is in all gas Canada and it's increasing to 12%, should us classic carburetor guys go to EFI like Sniper? Okay. Interesting question. Good question, Dave. Good question. I'm not sure how much ethanol they put in the gas here in the States. I haven't personally seen too much damage, or really much at all damage from ethanol in the gas. I know it does get into the rubber components of carburetors. Yeah, it's to me, it doesn't seem like that big a problem. I wouldn't be jumping on the Sniper bandwagon just yet. I guess it depends a lot on the miles you do, how many miles, and whether there's any availability of non-ethanol gas at all. I think there is here. There's quite a bit harder to get, but they have pure stations and stuff like that sell pure gasoline. And I know some of my customers always go there. And I always tell them, like don't get in a tiz, don't get in a panic if you're low on gas and you can't make it to an ethanol-free gas station. like one tank of normal or mainstream gas is not going to melt your carburetor. My understanding of it is that it is harder on the rubber components, and they will fail earlier or quicker than non-ethanol. But exactly how fast is kind of to be determined, to be honest. Like, I haven't really seen a lot of evidence of it. I think it's one of those things. It can, but it's not a death sentence. Like, I would, make sure that your carburetor is in good shape, the rubber parts are good in it, run with the 12%, and have a dive inside your carburetor after 6 months, assuming it doesn't fail prematurely, and see what it looks like. Because it's an expensive exercise switching to a sniper. Like, it's going to cost you $2,500 probably by the time you either change your tank, or you add the EFI fuel pump, add the return lines, do the installation, do the tuning. It's not hard to spend $2,500 on an EFI setup, and that's a lot of carburetor kits. If you've got to dive in once a year to put a $50 carb kit in it, and I think that would be the worst that would happen. I think that's a viable option, unless you really want to, go to fuel injection. But tell you, I see more than a few, particularly early sniper EFIs for sale on like Facebook Marketplace that people have taken off, and they're ditching them. And that to me is a telltale sign of the issues they're having. I would not pay money for a Sniper 1. I've had a little bit of dealings with the Sniper 2, and that's definitely a lot better. If you're thinking about EFI, I would either go like with the Terminator, with the 8 fuel injectors, like port injection, not throttle body injection. That's a good setup. The Sniper, but it has to be a Sniper 2. Do not waste your money on a Sniper 1. You will regret it. Now, Craig Nearing, it used to drive me bonkers when I would get in a car for a no start and the car had no brakes or little at best. Yeah. Yep. That's happened to me too, but I feel your pain. I do. I've had people with, in the brakes are in the process of failing, and they'll still drive them to me, rather than pay the money for a tow truck. And I'm like, golly, like, and they get to the shop and there's like no brake fluid left in the thing, and you'd have to pump the pedal to get anything. And it's like, you drove it here like this, and I'm uncomfortable driving it across the yard. But maybe I'm a pussy. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not going to be driving with other traffic around when I know my brakes are failing. No. Jeff Hutchins, I used a 9-inch grinder as a cutoff wheel as a teenager once. Went through my coveralls and my T-shirt. Luckily, just about 6 inches across my chest. Left a nice mark for a few years. Man, did I feel lucky. Good grief. Yeah, 9-inch grinder. I've used a 7-inch. 9-inch. That's a beast, man. Yeah, that takes some holding on to. That's, whew, yeah, that'll go through ribs and cartilage and all that sort of stuff pretty effortlessly. Wow. Hang on, guys. Chris Freemus, Arobi became a DIY product when they became a Home Depot exclusive. Everything sold there is built to a low price. Yeah. Honestly, the consumers are their own worst enemy. We bitch about how expensive shit is, and then we'll buy something cheap and we'll complain about how cheap it is. How is a manufacturer supposed to keep us happy? We complain that it's too expensive. We complain that it's too cheap. Like, make your minds up, people. What do you want? Barracuda, the word fanny means something different in America. Yes, it does. It's kind of opposite, shall we say. Yes, quite different, yes. Oh, barracuda wouldn't have been nice over a nipple, Jeff. No, it wouldn't. Jeff Hutchins, yeah, that gutless 4.5-inch cordless grinder is way better than nothing out in the field. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, you've just got to be a little gentle with it. You just can't be too aggressive because you'll kill the battery. Tavo, I boycotted Makita in the early 90s, bought a new variable speed sander polisher for a future project, left it in the box until needed over a year later. It was faulty from the box, warranty expired. That sucks. That's unusual, mate. They're not often dead in the box, but it happens. They just said a flat out note. Could see it hadn't been used. Yeah. That's very short-sighted. I don't blame you for boycotting them, mate. Yeah, that's very short-sighted on their part. And possibly, mate, if you'd got to the right person, had you had the inclination to push it, if you got to the right person, they probably would have said, send this man another one. But yeah, you've got to make, fight through the shit to get to the right person who has the ability to say, yes, we'll warranty that, rather than no. Because anyone that works there is empowered to say no, but it's not everyone that's empowered to say yes, we can do that. Snow Crusher Ryobi is made by the same company that makes Milwaukee. TTI owning major brands like Milwaukee Tool, Professional, and Ryobi DIY, alongside AEG, Empire, Dirt Devil, and Hoover. Wow, that's a lot of brand names. AEG I've had a good run with. Barracuda had a Ryobi electric chainsaw too. It didn't last long either. Very short time, actually. Yeah, I wouldn't buy Ryobi, honestly. But other people have had quite good runs with it. I had a Ryobi drop saw, for woodworking, and had it for many years, and it was great. It was good, and I can't remember what went wrong with it. Something went wrong with it. It stopped working. I took it into Ryobi just to get it fixed. Not warranty or anything like that. I just wanted it. Good saw, wanted it fixed. And I took it in, and it was really too old. They didn't have the serviceability of parts. And the guy said, if we could get it, the parts would be more than what a new one was. And I'm like, wow, really? Okay. I said, well, I guess I'll get a new one. So I got a new one, and I picked up the box. I'd already swiped my card and done that, and I picked up the box. It was half the weight. It was the same size, same inch saw blade, but the box was half the weight. I was blew my mind how much lighter it was. And I thought, okay, well, that didn't sort of bode well. And I thought, well, I'll just see how it goes. And it was half the weight. It was half the machine. But 10 years later, it was cheaper than the first one that I bought. So therein lies the tale of what happened, really. Like, in 10 years, stuff should be more expensive. 10 years on, it should be more expensive because of inflation. That's just a reality. Reinflation is a thing. So it should have been more expensive, but it was cheaper. But it was because they just dialed everything back. Everything was half the weight, half the output of power, half the cheap bearings instead of good bearings. And so it was disappointing. Unfortunately, I left the old one with them. I just, whatever, it's broken, doesn't work, use it for parts or whatever. And I left it with them, and I kicked myself later for not keeping it and trying to figure out how to fix it. I after using the new one for a little while, I was like, damn, I should have kept the old one and figured out a fix for it. But I got lazy. Chris Freeman, I actually have a Ryobi table saw that I bought 25 years ago. Now, still going strong, still makes mostly accurate cuts. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same as my story, mate. That was a drop saw, it was a table saw, but yeah, it would have been, when I bought that, would have been, easy 25 years ago now, but it failed probably 15 years ago, Now, Tavo, since the Makita incident, I gave every tool a good thrashing the day I bought it. Mate, it's probably how you treat your women too, isn't it? I imagine. Good Aussie boy. What time is it? 8:46. We got 15 minutes, guys. I need to catch up on the comments, don't I? Jeff Hutchins, those rusty spots are just Mother Nature's crumple zones. Oh, good Lord, you should have been a used car salesman, mate. Really? With that line? That's used car salesman. Yeah. But funny. I'll give you that. It's funny. David Tyree, you could use wood for the chassis, the Poms did. That's a little different. They use wood in the bodies here in the States too, a lot. So, Chris Freeman, so if you happen to leave near a body of water, check the gas stations nearby to it for non-ethanol fuel, popular choice for boat use. Yeah, well, that makes sense because they sit for 6 months of the year doing nothing, don't they? So, yeah, non-ethanol would be good to leave sat in a boat. That makes sense. Good advice, Chris. Barracuda. Very warm where I am, Kiwi. Yeah, I believe the weather's really picked up nicely in New Zealand now. Jeff Hutchins, my Ryobi 80-volt chainsaw has lasted through quite a few chains on the same bar, but the bar or reservoir leaks and it's not overly torquey. Right. Still. I don't. 18-volt, yeah. I mean, 18-volt electric engines have quite a bit of power, but yeah, as you say, not overly torquey. But yeah, cutting branches and stuff. Don't think you want to cut any big redwoods down with it, but I'm sure that's not why you bought it. Craig Neary, my 89 Audi did not like ethanol stuff, started leaking. Okay. 89 Audi. That would have been fuel injected, wouldn't it? 89. Yeah, I would have thought that'd be fuel injected. So what did it like start eating up some of the O-rings in the fuel injection system? Like what happened there, Craig? Phil Dodge Fury, welcome along, mate. Good to have you here. You've left your run a little bit late, but we'll take it, mate. We're glad you're here. PT Dave, I'll agree. I'll stick to carb. Easy to fix, easy to replace carbs, yeah. Or even just kit them. I mean, if the ethanol gets to the rubber parts, replace the rubber parts. Ethanol does not eat the aluminum, the cast metal that the carb's made of. It doesn't eat the brass fittings. But if you've got to put a needle and seat in it, and like an accelerator pump, ring, the rubber, once a year, I guess it's the whole thing. It's simple when you know how. If you don't know how to do that, and you got to pay a mechanic, it's gonna be $200 at least. So that would put a different light on it somewhat. But yeah, if you can mess with it yourself, then that's what I'd do. Paul Funk, I've seen a bunch of damage from E10 fuel. Anything old school should run ethanol-free fuel. Ethanol fuel attracts water. Total garbage fuel with no shelf life. Yep. No, it's not really for cars that are going to sit, for 6 months or 9 months at a time. And a lot of old hot rods do sit for that long at a time. They do. Um, a lot of these old golden oldies are, they're the guys that own them drive them, but a lot of their pride is in ownership, not exclusively driving. So they're quite happy to have them sat in the corner of the garage, and they just admire them and look at them, and just drive them every now and again. And ethanol, yeah, you're right, ethanol's not good for that. So yeah, depending what you're doing with it, your level of skill and whether you can dive into a carburetor probably has a fairly big bearing on whether to go to fuel injection or not. Hang on. Right, Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda. Lucky it was under the nips. Yeah. That's painful thinking about. Ouch. Jeff Hutchins, think that 9-inch grinder had about 300 horsepower. Yeah, and it put it all down to the ground, didn't it? Across your chest. Ouch. Snow crusher. The problem I've seen with ethanol is that ethanol absorbs water from the air and settles to the bottom of the carburetor, causing corrosion damage. Okay, interesting. Look, I'll be honest, I haven't seen that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Obviously, it does. You're just telling me about it. But I haven't seen it firsthand. Maybe that's just the different clientele. Yeah. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about the corrosion side of aspect of it. I was thinking really just the rubber parts. Tavo, I used to have a 9-inch angle grinder as well as the obvious. This one was a cast iron casing. Got the odd zap from it when running, but couldn't exactly drop it while running. Wow. Yeah. Cast iron case. That would have been heavy, mother trucker, wouldn't it? Wow. Barracuda. We go to Australia. Australia. Chris Freeman's 15 minutes left. Isn't it about time for Granddad to show up? Yeah, he's usually here by now, isn't he? But yeah, we might have to sort of send him a note and say, hey, what the hell? Craig Nearing, Chris Freeman, I too have a Ryobi table saw I bought about that old. Bought it at Maynard's. Oh, okay. Menards. I think Menards is the way to pronounce it, isn't it? BT 3000. Don't know. Steve Sadusky, I only use Milwaukee, Makita, and Bosch. Excuse me, fellas. Yeah, Bosch is good. Milwaukee, yeah, I've had a good run with Makita, and I've got some Milwaukee now as well, which seem to be doing pretty good. I've got a Milwaukee drill and impact, not an impact for like taking lug nuts off, but just an impact for running in screws and shit like that, tech screws, things like that. And it's good, it's powerful, but it's a bit heavy. It's one observation would be with the Milwaukee, it's heavy. The Makita is a lot lighter. Oh, geez, Tavo. Oh, and that 9-inch was a firm on-off button, not a safety. Let it go and it stops type switch. Oof. That was an old grinder, wasn't it? That's showing its age. Oh yeah, that'd just bugger off across the workshop, wouldn't it? If you put it down, it wouldn't switch off. It'd go until it ran out of extension cord. Ouch. Jeff Hutchins, just remember to hit the like button. Yep, we got 44 likes and 28 people in the room. So we've got a decent number of people in the room, which is good. Yeah, Craig Nearing, my Audi was fuel injected. Okay, so what was leaking, bud? Driveway of Misfits, Craig Nearing. Then it was a BT3000 like mine. Welcome to the club. Here you go. Snow Crusher, 100 low lead avgas, has no ethanol. A bit expensive, but way less problems. Well, I guess that's an option. I mean, yeah, it comes down to a lot of the individual's usage of it. Yeah, if you're doing 500 miles a week as a daily driver, then the cost of the avgas and difficulty of getting it is going to prove to be a bit of a nuisance. Yeah, it really comes down to the usage and what an individual finds acceptable, an acceptable level of difficulty, degree of difficulty. Barracuda, I've been using that just moved. I've been using Black & Decker angle grinder, $5 from a garage sale. It's lasting well and it's nice and light. Made me realise how heavy the Makita was. Okay. Tavo, that 9-inch grinder was very old. Last seen at Sims Metal. Okay. Barracuda, I've just remembered the Roby switch fell off in the second use. They fixed it, then it stripped the gears when I got it back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd be out at that point. It'd be like, cross Roby off the list. And what do we got here? I'm not sure how to even read that. AA Diddy Pandit, something like that, 3604. Are you from New Zealand? Yes, I am from New Zealand, mate. Hence the Kiwi nickname, moniker, or whatever you want to call it. Yep, all the way from grew up in Taranaki, spent my adult life in Auckland, and then headed to the mighty US of A in 2008. Beagle Bob, Andy Woods from Unity Motorsport showed us using water to remove ethanol from gas. Using water. Okay. I have no idea how that would have worked. Using water to remove the ethanol. Huh. Okay, because, I guess if ethanol attracts water, then conversely, water will attract ethanol. Never thought of actually trying to strip the ethanol out of the gas. Interesting. Never thought of that. Craig Nearing, I have a friend here in Milwaukee that works at Milwaukee and gets me some deals now and then, like a killer weed trimmer. Nice. See, it's who you know, what not you know. Not what you know. It's who you know. Yes. Good for you, man. Snow Crusher, avgas guaranteed stable for 2 years, but good for 5 years or more. Wow, really? I did not know that. I've used avgas in the past, but that was in a motorsport environment. And we never had it for 2 years, let alone 5. 2 weeks, maybe. But no, and I'd buy that in New Zealand, a 44-gallon drum, which is a 55-gallon drum here in the States. Jeff R. I was gifted a Hitachi 9-inch angle grinder from my father-in-law. The power cable was about 2 feet long after he put it down on his... yeah, that'll make short work of a power cable. At least the things will cut through it quick enough and not actually remain live. Craig Nearing, some little device on the air venturi. Interesting. I haven't heard of ethanol giving trouble to fuel injection systems before. But I guess, if it attracts water, if water's a big piece of I thought it was just like a little more caustic on rubber. But I honestly haven't seen the water issues with ethanol that you guys are talking about. Maybe just that my customers are burning through it quick enough that it's not a problem. Bigger Bob, the ethanol sticks to the water and settles to the bottom because it's heavier. That's kind of clever, honestly, to introduce the problem, the water, because the ethanol attracts water, so deliberately introduce the water to make it all settle to the bottom and then just skim it off the top. But it's a bit of messing about, a bit of fart-assing around to get that done, and having the right containers and yeah, I can see how it would work, but it would be a little bit of a pain, I imagine. Tavo used to buy avgas on the way to motocross past the airport on the way there. There you go. Yeah, we used to go down to, I think it was Shell, down the bottom of, down near the wharf, where it came in Auckland, at the main port there. And yeah, they would sell you 44-gallon drums. Or 209 litres, I think they were. That was in that kind of crossover period. And it was about $200 for a 209 litre drum. We thought that was expensive. Time flies, doesn't it? Talking of time flying, it's 9:01. Wow. Jeff Hutchins, avgas doesn't like O2. Jeff Hutchins, that's probably because of the lead in it, right, Jeff? Yeah, because avgas is going to have lead in it. It's not lead-free. Yeah, and yeah, O2 sensors do not like lead. That much I do know. Look at that, time to perfection. Jeff Hutchins, you lose 10 to 15% of your fuel stripping out the ethanol too, yeah, because even though it's less percentage in that, you're going to lose quite a bit of actual fuel through evaporation and farting around. Craig Nearing, time to say goodnight, mates. Give the room a thumbs up. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. That would be awesome. That would help me. Smoke Rusher, ethanol attracting water and gas and settling to the bottom is called phase separation. Well, there you go. There's your term for the evening. You can say you've learned something here tonight. You've learned that, or that thing that happens to ethanol and water is called phase separation. Anyway, Steve Sadusky, good night. Yep, see you, Steve. Empty glass means end times. Yes, it does. Yeah, I can't. I mean, I've got a 5-minute window of functioning with an empty glass, and after that, it all goes to hell. So yeah, I better get signed off. But look, I hope you guys enjoyed it tonight. I did. It's always fun. So I appreciate you guys coming in, sharing your thoughts. Yeah, it's always interesting, always entertaining, and I appreciate it. So yeah, and thanks for that super chat tonight. That was awesome. And yeah, I will see you guys next Tuesday. Hopefully you'll see a couple of videos between tonight and then. Certainly my plan to get at least 2 out. So you can hold me to that next Tuesday night and tell me what you thought about them. All right, guys, take it easy. Look after yourselves, and I will see you next week. See ya.